What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. With that being said, I'm gonna speak on the Tyreek Hill situation that happened Sunday with the Miami-Dade Police Department. He was detained for speeding. I think it was right near the he was on his way to the football game so he could play. And I think Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, I think he forgot all the lessons and all of the examples of what can go wrong for African Americans or minorities in general when you have interactions with traffic police or just the police in general. Sandra Bland, a few years ago, she had an interaction with the police, and that interaction um, ended with her not being with us anymore, right? So I think like everybody knows that when the police pull you over, you want to keep your hands at 10 and 2, so the police can always see your hands. Even when it comes to like when they ask you for your license and registration, like if you can have your license and registration like above you and like in the sun visor, I think that would be wise. So you can just reach up to your sun visor, or even have it in your hand when the police come up to your car. Because I have heard of and seen incidents where people have been reaching into their glove box, and the police, shoot them for that. After the police instruct you to reach into your glove box. So I think Tyreek has to is because he has to move wiser than what he moved, because this situation is not just about Tyreek Hill, right? It's about him setting an example, and for especially for younger people. Younger people need to know how to move and act when they deal with the police. And so if somebody see him being defiant as a professional athlete, a young person see him being defiant to the police as a professional athlete, and they feel like they can be defiant, that's going to set them up to possibly get themselves in a situation where they may not come home. They may not survive that type of situation. So it's not just about him. And my point is, and another way you can see that it's not just about him is like one of his teammates came to his aid, and he wound up in handcuffs, right? So let's say if Tyreek Hill if he had rolled his window down like the police instructed him to, right? Then maybe the situation don't escalate. If he had even if the police are acting like assholes, you know, and they acting unprofessional, you don't want to escalate that situation, because your teammate come to your defense, and he find himself in a situation where he may not go home to his family, because he don't want to see nothing happen to you, but you don't know who you are dealing with. Just like the police don't know a lot of times when they pull people over who they dealing with. And so you don't know who you dealing, what kind of police officer you dealing with. So you want to protect yourself, and you want to, you want to protect the people that might look out for you. So if somebody put their safety on the line to come to your aid, and you being defiant, that kind of make people not want to, even though you wasn't wrong, even though okay, you might have been being a little bit of a jerk, and the police may have had an attitude, you're a rich African American, and you might have been kind of, like being disrespectful because you think you are better than, or you have more money than, you still a black man in America. And so you have to at least definitely, you got to abide by the rules, man, and you got to move smarter than that, not just for your sake, but for the sake of people who are going to come to your defense, for the people who are going to stand up for you. You have to consider them. It's not just about you. You have to consider the people that that see you as a role model. You know, you don't want some young kid to get pulled over by the police and think that they, you know, because they in a nice car, that they can you know, that they can be disrespectful or you know, to the police, because it's not going, it ended for you the way it did, but it's not going to always end like that. You know what I mean? We have so many examples where it didn't end like that. You know, I'm gonna tell a quick story about one time. You know, I had I bought a car. I had bought a nice car one time when I was younger. I was riding through Baltimore City, and I was speeding, and the police it wasn't the police. He was the housing authority police, right? And he flashed his lights and pulled me over, and told me that, you know, he asked me for my license and told me that, you know, I was speeding and everything, right? So, and because he was a housing authority police, I told him, you know, I was kind of like disrespectful, and I told him, look, man, I shouldn't even have pulled over for you because you're not even a real cop, right? So me and him going back and forth about, is he a real cop or not? And he flags down a Baltimore City police officer, and a police officer, you know, comes over and he said, look, man, you need to respect the housing authority. You know, you need to respect these housing authority police officers, because they are police officers, and he can arrest you the same way I can. So I said, okay, all right, that's cool, whatever, right? And so he didn't give me a ticket, but I was being disrespectful, and he didn't give me a ticket. He just told me to slow down and go about my way, right? And so I left. A couple weeks later, I was watching TV, and I saw that this kid on a dirt bike was taunting the police. He was taunting a housing authority police officer, and the police officer chased the kid, and the kid he upset the police officer, and the police officer wound up shooting him, right? And when they showed the police officer's picture on TV, that was the very same police officer that had pulled me over a few weeks earlier. And so, you know, that right there just made me think that my situation, you know what I mean, I could have escalated my situation, and I would not have been here, you know, for taunting the police or being disrespectful or taking for granted that, you know, that this man could really he could end me, right? And so he wound up shooting the kid. And because of that incident in Baltimore City, police officers are not allowed to chase. They're not allowed to chase those kids on those dirt bikes anymore. So, you know, and so, you know, it was a sad situation, but, you know, you just have to be wise and intelligent about the way you interact with the police. It's not a game, you know, and people, you know, really, you know, they really lose their life for these type of encounters. And so anytime you get pulled over by the police, you just want to think about people like Sandra Bland, who didn't get to go home, or George Floyd, who didn't get to go home, and a lot of other African Americans who don't, you know, who interact with the police and don't always, you know, get to go home. That's just not something that you want to be, a situation where you want to take it lightly, a situation where you want to be where you want to play with that type of situation, you know. And so those are my thoughts on the situation. Hopefully, you know, people just, you know, Tyreek learned to set a better example as far as, you know, how to conduct itself in that situation, because it's not just about Tyreek Hill. It's about people that like and admire him and people that watch him, you know, and so he definitely has to take that into consideration. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you think about you know, the Tyreek Hill situation. And with that being said, I'll check you all out on the next